Mary, who do you have with you?
Kennedy, my
Kennedy.
granddaughter.
Hi, Kennedy.
Mhm.
Did you tell her we're going to play with dead people?
No.
No, don't tell her that.
We're
Well, the
gonna
joke,
look. We're gonna look up family history. Okay.
so the joke started many years ago, about 25 years ago or so. And the kids were always asking me what I was doing. And I was like, genealogy. And they could not say that word. It was just so complicated. So
Hmm.
that's where I started telling them I was playing with dead people. It's become such a family joke that I couldn't help but infect the state with it.
Well, they have those sweatshirts, that say something about I love dead people and stuff like that. I like that too, but
I couldn't believe it when I searched for a GIF, like a little moving picture for Facebook, and I keep finding some really cute dead people ones. Some of them not so cute, I don't want them, but
That says that it's
dancing skeletons and all right. So it's 2 o'clock. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. And Mary, I'm just excited to have you with us. I really am. So you and Kennedy both.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna start an adventure. And what's going on? I'll just give you all the background story. Nancy Heritage. Does anybody know who that is, or does that ring a bell?
yes.
Good. Yeah. Clay, she is currently the state librarian. She's going to be coming and talking to the Trenton chapter in February.
Okay, good.
Okay. She's been the state historian and the chair of the American History Committee for the state. Her background, her profile is she's been a member for over 31 years, and she is a life member. And so she decided, okay, I want a new supplemental, but I don't research. And I'm sorry, but someone with that kind of clout, I probably wouldn't endorse it for a lot of people, but I think that you earn a certain amount of benefits when you've given as much as she has to the state and to the DAR.
Mhm.
And so she found somebody to do the research, and that person has given me the information saying, I don't think I'm done. I don't know what else to do. So we're going to look at this package of information and we're going to work it all out. I have only just barely touched it. So it's going to be a new exploration for all of us together. And as I go through everything, we'll talk about it. And I think this will be a really good experience. That way, you know, I guess I'm
You help me set up.
multitasking at its
So I
best, but at the
so I
same
have
time,
two
it's a great
screens.
experience for all of us. So let's get started. I'll show you.
Mommy, I want my phone.
And on us coming over.
I'm going to share my screen with you.
Does she have any other supplementals or is this her first one?
She's got 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
So yes, she does have. And that plays into it, PM. So that's a really good question. Okay, can you see my screen here, the DAR worksheet and documentation
Mhm.
check?
Mhm.
I I love this. I'm almost to the point I cannot work on an application, supplemental or new, without filling this thing in because it gives me everything I need to know, and that way I can see where I need to be working. Well, the person that worked on this
You
also
want
did.
what?
My bottle.
Mommy's going. Mommy's going to get it. Okay?
So the person that worked on Nancy's supplemental right now, this is what she sent me. And I really like this because we'll talk about all this. Okay. I have shared this worksheet with you guys before, but I'll go through it again real quick in case you can't remember or you don't remember or you haven't seen it. So here what we've got is each generation, 1, 2, 3, and it goes down to the next page until you get as far as you need to go. It also has a place to fill out the service study when we get to that. And then this is that optional part that you even see on applications, and it's optional. So we may not get to that, may not do that. These numbers,
Yeah.
okay, so then you put in the event date, the location, event date, location, and then over here is the document or the reference or the
Oh.
proof of each one. What's really important is that you can get each piece of information, including this ultra important lineage link, as you're working from one generation to the next. I will talk about these numbers in a second. So what this person that did the research did is we will look at these. These are national number 967,990 plus 1291. That is a reference to a supplemental application. Okay, so that's the person's national number. The reason I know it's a supplemental is the add volume. That plus 1291 tells us that it's an add volume, and you only get those for supplemental applications. They collect them all together until they're as big as they need to be. I don't even know what that magical number is. And then once they get a complete set, they close down that volume and submit it for it to be digitized. This A number is the name of the patriot that the supplemental application was for, because all patriots numbers start with an A for ancestor. Okay, what else this person did is these numbers are the family history libraries, family tree identification numbers for each one of these persons. So what she's telling me is if you go to this family search tree and you look in this number, you will find the documentation for each one of these. Now, I don't know, I haven't looked at it. Did she upload it or was she able to just get lucky enough to find it there? Like I said, this is all an exploration.
I have a question.
Sure.
If you put that number in KCFHVV2, if you just put that number into the Family Search website and do a search for that number, that's the way you do that? That'll come up?
We will go through that, PM.
Okay, okay.
But I will tell you as a prelude, you go into Family Search, and then there's a separate screen. Have you been to the Family Search FamilyTree?
Yes.
Yes. So at that place, there's a search criteria, and it's got an option at the top. One is to search for the person by name and location and date, and the one next to it is to search by ID number. And so you click on ID number, and that's
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Just a second. I want to see if anybody else is. No. Okay. So this gives us an amazing roadmap. It also is a great index to the work that they've done it looks like there's a couple of blanks here. And you know what? When you get back to shoot that far back, what the DAR rule book, the guidelines say is that you need to either have a complete birth, meaning date in place, or death date in place. So it could be that there's blanks there and that you don't know, and that's perfectly acceptable when you get back that far into the dates. Okay, so that's what they had,
You talking to me, Mommy?
and I'm going to use it as a roadmap just to look at this information. I'll check it by this, but what I'm saying is, as I look at it, I'll fill this in with you guys watching. So I'm going to take this off screen and put it on my other screen that you won't be able to see. We know that Nancy Harris Hicks is Our Lady, and she was born in Monroe, Union County, North Carolina. And her husband is James Michael Heritage with two R's. She's really sticky about that. Nancy Heritage with the two R's. So, okay, so just so you guys can watch. So I've got that much. Oh, wait a minute. I also have here that he was born in Jacksonville, Onslow County, North Carolina, and that they got married in Mount Pleasant, Charleston County, South Carolina. Okay, I'm taking this off so that we can go online. Now, Mary, I know you have image access. Okay. Pam, do you have it?
No, and I'm jealous.
So you know the value of it.
I do. I've looked at it before,
I
but
still don't. So, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay, we're gonna play with it a little bit. Pam, you said you've looked at it before or you've had it?
No, I've never had it, but I'm good friends with our registrar, so I can go to her house and peek.
Exactly. And that's what you guys are going to be doing today is looking over my shoulder. So we're not committing any crimes. I'm in control. You're looking over my shoulder. We're not going to print anything. We're not going to screenshot anything. And that's the rules. Okay. So here is Nancy Hicks Dusenbury. I don't know if she was married once before or what, but this is what they've got her down for. So right there, I know on my sheet, instead of Nancy Harris Hicks, just as a correction to my own sheet, I'll just put in Nancy Hicks Dusenbury. And she's married to James Michael Heritage. Okay. So here is her most recent supplemental. And it was done in 2021. And I can look at it and see that Nancy Hicks Dusenbury was born on, by the way, I've got her complete authorization to share this with you. She said she's excited that we're going to use this as a training opportunity. So, okay, so I have put it over here. Oops. Let's see, Monroe Union County, North Carolina, and that she was married. Oh yeah, look at that. She was married to Mr. Dusenbury. Okay, hang on just a second. I gotta let somebody else in.
Oh,
Okay.
yay.
Put down James Michael, 28 August 1949.
28 or 23?
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind.
On this first screen on the worksheet, they don't give you enough information to get it all on there. So I'm just extracting, if we go when we go back and actually do the application, give it a little bit more focus. Let's see. On this part. 21. No, that's it. Okay. So I'm gonna swing this back by. You guys got to see on that application all of this information, right?
Mhm.
On that. Did you see how I split the screen so you could see it? Okay, but now we're always told to reference the most current application for every generation. So I'm going to take this off again.
Oh,
We're going to go back and we're going to search. I'm going to do an advanced search. The reason I like advanced searches is when we search for a couple, it gives us a little bit more detailed information. Hi, Marion.
Ah,
I'm glad you could join us.
got
Okay.
stuck in the grocery store.
Well, it's snowing here in Aiken. Is it snowing where you guys are at?
Not yet.
Polly's Island, not
It's
yet.
cold, though.
Is it supposed to
Hey.
snow in Polly's Island, PM?
We're supposed to get 2 to 3 inches.
Wow.
No school. They're leaving school they left at 11 and there's no school tomorrow.
Mary, what about where you're at?
I'm on Paris Mountain.
Oh,
We're a little bit above rainfall,
yeah.
Yeah.
and it's about 2 degrees cooler up here, and we had nothing, but it has that look like it's gonna.
So it's 28 down here.
Where are you at?
I'm in Greenville,
Okay. You're at
Oh,
the
okay.
bottom of that mountain, huh?
and we're
A
at the
little
foot
bit.
of the mountain. I grew up at the foot of that mountain.
Ah,
Okay. We're going to go back over here. We're going to search for, I'm going to put in Mr. Heritage first, and then we're going to put in Dudesbury and see what happens.
Are those the names on the? Okay, I see.
Yeah, where you came in, Marion, is we are working on, this is my favorite worksheet. And we've got somebody is working on a supplemental for Nancy Heritage. And they have sent me all of this information on the worksheet that's on your screen now.
Mhm.
So I am going through and I'm just kind of checking it by filling in a new worksheet. And That's where we're at right now. So I did a search for Heritage in Dusenberry, and the most recent information is here, 967,990.
And when you search for that, you put both names in and a slash between them or what?
Now, what I like is to go to the descendants and
I'm on a
advanced-
phone, so rather
this-
than on my computer, so
Okay.
excuse me if you've
That's
already.
okay. I like going through this advanced search. I don't know if you can see it or not, Marion.
I can see last name, first name, and so forth.
To the right of it,
Descendant
there's
search.
right,
Okay.
and to the right of it, there are
Okay, I
search-
see.
Okay, there's a new search, which is what it defaults to, and then an advanced search is what I like if I'm pretty sure of the married couple that I want. And since we know we are doing this supplemental for Nancy Heritage, I know that she knows who she is, and that's how we came up with Heritage and Dusenberry.
Okay, I see.
And so we see her here. And so this is the most recent application that's been submitted for that couple. And I'm going to click on it, 967,990.
How do we know that? I know there's a way and it's by the number, but how do you know? What
And
is
you're
the
right. You're right and you're wrong on that, Mary. And I thank you so much for asking the question. They did a
Okay.
really good
That
article.
one I didn't ask.
They did a really good one, a good article in the last, I think it was Genealogical Gems, that really takes a lot of the mystery out of it. And this one is so small. We're going to keep using it, so you'll see. But this, there's so few examples for this one. But look at this. When we did that search, we come up with this, these two hits. One is for a Patriot, William Heritage, and another one is for a Patriot, William Smallwood. We're going to click on this bottom one, and it was 967,990, ancestor A105555. Well, that's right here. And so if you look at this name, that's for Laura Catherine Heritage. And I'll bet you that's Nancy's daughter, not Nancy. Especially with us women in the DAR, we like to bring our daughters in if we've got daughters. And we will see that this happens quite often on supplemental applications. That even on our own supplemental app, we are not the most information.
I'm
So
losing you.
you're losing.
No, I mean, the sound is just going in and out.
Sorry. Is anybody else having sound problems? I know my voice gets kind of wet.
Just
Twiggy.
for a minute. It's back.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was saying is that when we're thinking supplemental applications, a lot of us, all of us are women, and a lot of us women may have daughters that also want to get supplemental applications or that want to join after we have. So even though we're working on Nancy Heritage's stuff, it's actually her daughter, Laura Catherine Heritage, who we refer to as the most recent application of that information. You guys, I will say this over and over again because it's not easy to remember or understand. But in this situation, the documentation, reference, or proof would not be Nancy Heritage's number, but it would be Laura Catherine Heritage's number, and it would be her supplemental ad volume 1309. So to fill in this area here, we would say national number 967,990 plus the ad volume number of 1309 for ancestor, which was his number, A10123. Do you guys understand that code?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So we just looked it up. The most recent application that references Nancy Hicks Dusenberry and James Michael Heritage is her daughter, Laura,
Okay.
whose member number is national number 967-990, ad volume 1309. Now, Marianne, I explained the ad volume right before you joined us. And an ad volume is added to any supplemental application. Original applications do not have an ad volume.
Okay.
So the DAR collects supplemental applications. I don't know what the magical size is until it gets to be the size that it needs to be, and then they submit them all as an ad volume. They've been doing this forever. Well, 60 years anyway, I think. It's been a long time. And so you will always see that plus sign or an ad volume showing it's a supplemental application. And then the A105555 shows that it's an ancestor. So the Patriots number is the A105555. So we've got all this information from the same source. National number 967-990, ad volume 1309, ancestor 1055. Okay, now let's see if we can find out who Nancy's parents are. The person that worked on the research says that it's Lewis Edward Hicks and Evelyn Prather Harris. So I'm going to go check that out. In the same situation as I did the two surnames in an advanced search, I'm going to try to get that this way. Descendant. And we're going to use Hicks and last name Harris. See what we come up with. Wow,
Right here.
there's 30 Mr. Hickses that married 30 Miss Harrises, or there's that many items found. So we're looking for Lewis Edward, and these are in alphabetical order by the groom's name.
That's good to know.
It is, isn't it?
You can play in here.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you
now we've
just-
got Lewis Edward and Evelyn Prather Hicks or Harris. Okay, now this is where it gets special, you guys. Okay, do you see it was for all of those? The most recent application that references this couple is this one because it's at the bottom of this list.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
Okay.
What'd
yeah.
you say? Say that one more time.
Okay, we did a search for
Mhm.
Mr. Harris and Mr. Hicks and Miss Harris. And
Mhm.
we have a bunch of them, but then we found the couple we were looking for, and there are multiples of them. There's
How did you get from all the different ones to just the entries that I mean, what did you click on?
I'll show
It's
you.
the technical stuff that
That's fine. So we put in Hicks and
I
Harris,
got that.
and then we did
And then you
search,
got a whole bunch.
and they're in
Mhm.
alphabetical order by the
Yeah.
husband's name.
Now
So
go
now we
down
can
to,
change that, Marion. We could do it on the last name of the husband or on the spouse's, which is the wife's.
no, I just want to know what you did
I just
to
did that.
get
Okay,
all
so,
the entries for that particular couple.
so there are these 30 entries. And I just scrolled down until
We've passed Lewis Edward.
right. I
Okay.
was just showing you. And then so I scroll down until we get to Lewis Edward.
There he is.
There he is. There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, so all the entries are right there. Okay.
So the most recent one's going to be at the bottom of this list.
Okay.
Okay. So again, it happens to be this member number 967990.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops, I want to go back. It's 967990, but it's ancestor 50607. Do you see the difference there?
Yeah.
So
And can I ask a question? And we all, I mean, if we have, we can all enter, we can all see this information. It's not just image access.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Correct.
Thank you.
So this is Laura Heritage again, but this is
John Hargis.
ancestor now is John Hart. How do you say it? Hargis? Hargis. Um,
Almost like haggis.
I know it. So let me get back to,
And I don't mean to interrupt you, Susan. I live in Greenville, Marion. If you anybody that lives in this area or whatever, I'm willing to meet you at Starbucks, you know, to help each other with app and if you need image access.
that's sweet of
Okay,
you.
thank you. And what's your name?
Merry, like Christmas, but it's, I was going to say Merry Christmas. No, it's Merry Crawford. But yeah, and when it gets warm, Susan, I've got a big gazebo out here and we could
Oh,
meet
wow.
here. We could have like a lunch.
That'd be
Well,
cool.
you said something about learning, having a workshop about the application, the new application, if we could get 10 people.
Darlene Levy is putting one together
Okay. Can
up in
you,
Easley. She's looking at doing it easily.
okay,
Okay, so
well,
now we've got these people up here. I'm gonna move this off to the side, but when I go into, now let's see, how would we do this if you didn't have image access? You would go down to 506 right here. And so see, you can still have this information available to you because it's this Lewis Edward Hicks is what we need. So I'm looking at it and typing it in over here. He was born in Cumberland, Allegheny County, Maryland. And
didn't we already have that?
we're just going through what the person that did the research had that, but we're going through and checking it so that we could put it on the worksheet showing that we verified it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
And you verify it by looking up another ancestor and,
right.
okay.
So bear with me while I populate this page and I'll bring it over to you, but I can't have them on the same page and do it. So let's see. So this is national number 967-990, but this one for her, I gotta go back to, oh, it was her original. So we don't have an ad volume. So, which is interesting. And then that's ancestor 050607. Like born 11 November 1919. Died 29 July 1977. Row, Union County, North Carolina. Married Evelyn Prather Harris, who was born 21 March 19. Whoops, got the wrong cell. Sorry. Good thing you didn't have to watch me do that. 21 March 1922. And she was born in Monroe, Union County, North Carolina. She died 15 September 2011. We're in Mount Pleasant, Charleston County, South Carolina. And they were married 25 June 1949 in
And you don't put any punctuation between the city, the county, and the state.
Right.
I think I remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is what I've been working on, is taking that information from the GRS and putting it on this worksheet. And we were able to verify that Lewis Edward Hicks and Evelyn Fraser Harris were the parents of Nancy Hicks Dusenberry.
Mhm.
Okay, so now it's been recommended or suggested that Mr. Hicks' father is Lewis Wheeler Hicks, and that his mother is Mary Agnes Bell. So we're going to go through that same exercise again. We're going to go up here to the descendants, advanced search. We're going to use Hicks as a man's surname and Bell as the female surname, and we're sorting by last name of the husband. Okay, so again, we're going to scroll down. There's only 6 of them found this time. So we're going to scroll down to Lewis Wheeler. There he is, Mary Agnes Bell. There he is again. There he is again with Mary Agnes Bell. There he is again with Mary Agnes Bell. It's the end of it. So the most recent application for this couple is this one. And oh, look, it's Laura again. Do you guys follow me?
Yeah.
Can you go back to that one step before, right before you click?
I sure can, because that is a different step, Pam. So we did this search on the married couple's names, and we went to the most recent one, which is the one at the furthest at the bottom of the sheet. And there's 2 of them there. Do you see that? Multiple matches, too.
Mhm.
Okay, I see
So then
that.
I clicked on that, and that
Okay.
brings the most recent one being on the bottom to Laura Catherine Heritage. Now, help me remember, the ancestor this time is a different one. This ancestor is ancestor 124062, William Wheeler. I want to go back and see, is William Wheeler an add volume? He is. William Wheeler is add volume 1291. Do you see that?
Mhm.
Okay, let me just capsule it over here. 867990.
And if you're listing that on the documentation, you put a plus sign,
Mhm.
volume 1309.
That's correct.
Okay.
For
It's the language that drives me nuts.
so
Uh,
here's that code, if you will. Let me blow it up for you.
yeah,
Do you see
that's a
it?
good word.
National number 967990, add volume 1291, ancestor 124062. Okay, so explain to me, you guys, how can it be that we're working on Nancy Heritage's supplemental application, and this is all our very personal information, and we've got such different codes, if you will, over here? How does this happen? Any clues? One thing we know is that Nancy's number is not 967,990. We've all seen that's Laura's number. That's her daughter.
Right.
Okay. The reason we've got a mix between add volumes, the 1291 down here and the 1309 up here, is that Laura has submitted several supplemental applications also. So her first Patriot was this one. Laura's was. And
Was which one?
this ancestor A050607.
How do you know that? Because it's the
Because
first
there's
one
no,
listed?
because there's no add volume.
Oh, okay.
Good question, Marion. That's good. But then we also know that that was her original one. And then she went and got another one because it's a higher number add volume. You see that?
Mm. Oh, yeah.
But to
Thank
me, it looks like she was able to jump this.
Where is the higher volume, higher number add volume?
Okay, there's no add volume here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is her
Yeah.
original. And then she's got a 1291 here and a 1309 here. So Laura did this application, and then she did this supplemental, and then she did another supplemental.
Okay.
Okay, so what that tells me is that for this generation to never be touched again, because there's not another ad volume on here, she went through her father's line. Laura did. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And then instead of going through the Hicks line on her next one, she went through the Harris line. Or instead of going through the Harris line, she went through the Hicks line because we've got a different Patriot and a higher ad volume than the 0. And then the next time, it's probably when she went through her father's. So it's not always going to be just lining up the way we think it should. Once we see it, we've got to go look at every generation. So let me again capture this information over here, and we've got 124062, and we're looking for Lewis Wheeler Hicks, and so just bear with me while I transfer this information in the worksheet.
And he's named after the ancestor.
I'm sorry, what?
He's named after the ancestor. Lewis Wheeler Hicks is named after William Wheeler. That's
Good
a link.
eye. Good eye, Marion. That's really, that kind of solidifies it a little bit more that they were very proud of that name.
Yeah.
Okay, White Plains, Charles County, Maryland. And he died 3 September 1994 in Kaiser, in County, Virginia. Mary Agnes Bell was born 21 January 1892. I did it again. So, yeah.
I don't see where you are.
I know I'm trying to, what's going on is you can only see one screen at a time. You know what? Maybe I could just do it this way.
Oh, okay. Now I do.
So you can't see both screens at a time, but I'm over here.
Okay.
Mary Agnes Bell, January 1892. You get to see me have problems typing. Okay, and that's from, I just copied this again because all of this will be the same. Mary Agnes Bell was born in Maryland, is what they've got. And then died 17 July 1996.
1890. No. Oh,
She
yeah. Oh,
was
sorry.
103 years old. Look at that.
Woo. I was like, no, that
103.
can't be right, but it is
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
because she couldn't, and she would have only been 4 years old.
Yeah. But she was
You're young.
104 when she died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a couple of ancestors that lived like that long.
Okay, now we're going to go back to, this is the one that was sent in that we're working from. And now they're saying that they believe James Henry Bell and Mary Louise Fosenbacher are the parents of Mary Agnes Bell. So let's see if we can find them. The person that submitted this was not able to, and so we probably won't be able to, but let's just go for it anyway and see. So
Do you work off of 2 screens?
3.
Oh,
My husband offered it for me, and I was like, "Oh, that's overkill." And so he did it anyway. I was like, "Oh, I love you."
I need to get somebody. I just bought a big monitor, to have above me.
Yeah. And that's what I've got, Mary, is I've got 2 monitors side by side. They weren't that expensive, like $100 each. So
You can use a little TV too.
yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
And then I got my laptop, so that's the 3rd screen.
Yeah, I'm going to turn it around and show you what I have. And I got it from MacBed for like, I think I paid $55 or $65.
Mm.
It is
That's
huge.
cool.
And it's on the wall, it's attached to the
No,
wall?
it's on a my house is filthy. I'm sorry. This is a
Oh,
desk.
got a base.
Yeah. And see, that's a painting above it, but see how big?
That's great.
Huge. Yeah.
That's
So
the
can
problem
you
with mine is,
split the screen?
Yes, ma'am. But it's just got one right now.
and I have no desk space really, Mary, because it's all being taken up with 2 monitors and my laptop, you know.
Hmm.
Okay, so Lewis Wheeler Hicks. Oh, look, there he is. Oh, wait a minute. We need to go to the next generation. Sorry, I got distracted with your beautiful screen. It's your fault. Okay, so they're recommending that Lewis Wheeler Hicks. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out what you guys are.
Gell and Fazenbaker.
I don't really use Family Search, so that's going to be new to me.
This person did a great job of putting all that down. And I like using Family Search FamilyTree because while we're working on a collaborative tree. Now, if we don't want to do that for our personal stuff, it's like whatever, you know. But while we're working on other people's stuff, if we're helping other people, like with applications for new members and stuff, I
So
think
this
it's
is,
really,
this is not the DAR site. This is, oh
where
yeah,
we're
it
at
is.
right now is the DAR site, yes. But we're going to be getting into using Family Search because that's the
Okay.
way. Okay, so this is Bell and Fazit Baker. Nope, there's nothing there. But so I don't want to give up too much. Just let's just see if any Phasm Bakers, because that's such a unique name, come on. And
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson Fazenbaker. But we're looking for James Henry Bell and his wife of Fazenbaker. It doesn't. So all these are, how many Fazenbakers are there? There's 18 of them. And they're listed by, okay, that's the other thing. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna search by, since I'm only looking for a female Fazenbaker, I want to go by this. Let's see, how do I want to do that?
There's Jane.
That's what I want to do is do it this way. Since we're not looking for a couple, I just want to do a basic search. We'll do it Fazenbaker and we'll search by the husband's last name and then I'll put them in alphabetical order. Hey, Fazenbaker and Gallagher, Fazenbaker and Broadwater. So see if there had been a Bell, her husband's name is James Henry Bell, it would have already showed because they're in alphabetical order by the husband's name. And that's it. Okay.
So the multiple matches up a little bit farther, the multiple matches, that means that because you clicked on that the last time,
Right.
that means that there's 2 of those, Fazenbaker and
Free.
whatever. Okay.
There's 3 in this group. The most recent one being this Gloria Jean Miller Baker.
Okay. Okay. I'm with you.
And a lot of times what that means is that they were submitted pretty close together, maybe even in the same package. You know, they could all be, you know, cousins or sisters or, but that they were all processed about the same time.
And where did the Gloria Jean Baker come from?
We just, Pam wanted to see what the multiple matches look like. Is that what you're
Okay.
asking, Brian? Why did we
Well,
click
I'm
on
just,
that?
I
We're just,
didn't spot that name, and
Yeah.
so I'm not sure where it came from.
it's not one that we're working on. It's just while we were looking for
Sorry
it.
about that.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
Pam had a question, so I was like, okay, well, let's
I-
grab this one.
Okay.
Okay.
And sometimes people shorten those long names, and I'm looking at Baker and wondering whether that's what happened somewhere along the way.
Well, I see what you're saying, but no, I don't know.
Okay.
A whole different extracurricular study. But this is what was given to me. Is they're like, we couldn't find them in the DAR GRS. You see how it's got a blank spot here?
Mhm.
But here we go, guys. we're gonna go climb that family search family tree. You ready to rock and roll? You're thinking about it, Mary. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah. You need to go what? Oh.
Okay. So I'm gonna take this over here to the side. Now remember, I've just got that code. And so I'm gonna go to family search. And if you don't have an account, you need one. And it doesn't cost anything. They do not market. You just need to have a username and an email, or I mean a username, which is usually an email, and a password. And I've been on Family Search for, oh my goodness, as long as they've had it up there, I think. And they've never sent me any emails ever. So they might send me notifications about the Family Search Family Tree, like here's a memory, but it's never about anything to do with the church, is what I'm trying to say. I've never received any kind of solicitation. Okay, so here we are in Family Search. I'm going to go into the family tree, and I'm going to do find. You girls with me?
Mhm.
And here's what I was talking about. There's either find by name or find by ID. Now, I'm just going to pull it up here. I use Legacy Family Tree to keep track of a lot of my research. Trying to scroll it over here for you. And some of you have seen this before because I've shared this almost every meeting that we've got. And so this is Nancy Heritage's family tree that I've put on my laptop. It's
No
not
need.
it's not on Ancestry's family tree. It's not on Family Search's family tree. And Lisa Louise Cook is a professional genealogist. She's very well known. She's got
Yeah.
a YouTube. She does a lot of guest speaking, and she really endorses keeping for your own work. Now, if you're doing somebody else's work, whatever, but keeping it local, because that way you don't know when Ancestry might disappear or Family Search might disappear, and you don't want your stuff disappearing. To where if you have got a software application, you own it and it's on your laptop. And that's what this is. I'm just showing you this because when I open this box, when I clicked on Lewis Edward Hicks, this little box comes in where I can enter all this information. And they've got a little place right here where I can put the family search ID. So if I ever want to go back and look at this dude, I've got his ID right there to where I can access it. They've also got the Find a Grave Memorial ID number, Billion Graves, WikiTree, all this stuff where it's easier to keep track of. I like it. But
Where do you get the ID number?
this family search ID number, I'll show you. So hang on, let me pull it up again. When we were given, this is the research that's been done for Nancy's supplemental. That's what all of these are here.
Oh,
Okay. So I'm going to take this one right here. I'm going to copy it. I've highlighted it. Control C. And then I'm going to go to Family Search, Family Tree, Find by ID. Paste it in there.
oh,
There's the information that the researcher is suggesting is for James Henry Bell. Okay. So now we can
yeah.
click on him and we can go to sources. So what we want is proof of his, of course, birth, death, marriage, and the lineage link to his daughter, Mary Agnes Bell. So we can scroll here. Census records are easy. A lot of people will go ahead and put those on. But this looks interesting. There's a marriage record that somebody else, when they were working on this family tree, already connected to this person. And we can get into that later on how you connect them. But let's see what they've got here. They're saying that there's a marriage record for James H. Bell in the West Virginia marriages 1780 to 1970. Oops. And they're saying, here is the info, here's all of the citation information, here's a web link. But here's what it's saying is that there's a marriage record identifying James H. Bell, who was 25 years old, estimated birth year 1861, marriage date September 23rd, 1886, in Mineral, West Virginia, whose father's name was Nimrod, whose mother's name was Sarah, and he married Mary L. Baker. Now, I thought we were looking for Mary Louise Fossenbaker. Could it be a handwriting error?
Or was she married before her husband died and then this?
Well, let's go see what we got. It says view original document. Okay, this is taking us, it shows us, away from Family Search and into a whole nother website. And this is common, you guys. It would do the same thing for Find a Grave. But it's going to go to www.wvculture.org. And this is a beautiful website. If you've never been to
Thank
the
you very much. I'm from the great state of West Virginia.
They've got good records there, Pam. They really do. Okay, so, and they're giving this stuff away. They're like, to save this image on your computer, right-click and select Save Picture As or Save Image As. This image will print on one 8.5 by 11 sheet using your browser's print command. To print in a different format, do that. To view the data associated with this image, click here. So let's do that, because first we want to look at it. Oh, wait a minute. What are you doing? Make a liar out of me.
They just updated their website a couple months ago, so I hope it'll work okay.
Okay,
Oh, there we go. There we go.
So here's this James H. Bell and Mary L. Baker. Pretty much says the same thing that we just saw over there on Family Search. Oh. So her parents were Georgina and Godfrey, and his parents were Sarah and Nimrod. So let's go back and look at it. So have you got to play with this website, Pam, before?
Oh, I go there a lot.
I bet. Okay. So here they are.
There
I
it
don't know,
is.
Mary, look at that. To me, that looks like that could be Fazenbacher, whatever.
Yeah.
It does.
But I think
Hold on. Oh, go ahead.
because we're looking for it, we can see that, but I can see why they would have it, whatever name they had for it, when they didn't know to look for it. So,
I hope we're going through his line, not hers.
so
Let me put it.
You know what?
this is great. So,
Going wandering.
Yeah,
also,
they were pretty sure.
okay, so Mary's first question was maybe she was remarried, and it shows right here when she got married, she was single.
And I'm looking at it on my huge screen, and it is the Thackeray Baker. That is a definite Baker at the end.
Great. So it's showing that they got married in Shaw. Oh, wow. His place of birth. What does that look like to you?
Preston County, Virginia.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Her place of birth, Allegheny County, Maryland. His parents named Nimrod and Sarah. Hers, Godfrey and Georgiana. And what is this?
His occupation.
Minor?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got some really good information here. Now, the person that was working on this supplemental also did send me documents. So that's really cool. But because I'm here, I bet they've already sent it to me, but I'm going to show you the way I do it. Hang on just a second. Let me build myself a folder. I've shared this before, but I don't remember who all was here. I've got a very,
Each time I saw it, they were.
to me, it's a specific naming convention when I save things.
So,
So
what do you want?
on this, I'm going to,
Okay. Well, you may have left them out there somewhere.
Yes, I did.
We can play with the extra pages and stuff later, but I want to make sure to get, you know, do you see this here? So we can remember to write our source citation. We can take the extra. Oh, I don't know why it's scrunched. Okay, what did it say up here as far as save this image, right click, save picture. Okay, save image as, this is heritage. And let me go back to which generation we're at. So this is for James Henry Bell and Mary Louise Fossenbaker. So it's generation 4. So my naming convention is 4 dash her last name, Fossenbaker, and then his last name, Bell, marriage record. That's just the way I do it. That way I know which generation it is, I know which names I'm dealing with, and what kind of record I've got. So, oh, it's set. What? There we go. It blocked. I got it. So now I can take that information. Trying to think of the best way to share this with you guys. Here's my worksheet. I'm going to open up. I'm going to put it over here just so I can see it while I'm typing it over here. So right now, all we've got is James H. Bell. And he's 25 years old in 1886. I'm sorry, I'm not really good at trusting myself with math. So I pulled up my calculator, 1886 minus 25. So he was born in 1861. And so far, we've got 4 dash Fossenbaker Bell marriage record to give me that information. Do you guys understand that? Did you follow that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then on this marriage record, it shows Mary L. And I'm going to just say it's Fossenbaker. I mean, I just think it was a transcription error.
I would, and you know, that was the thing. You see that all the time.
Sure.
How does it, and I have submitted stuff and said this is a transcription error. It never gets addressed.
That's, well, it
Or,
depends upon who
I
you're
mean, I've
working
said,
with, because Ancestry.com and Family Search FamilyTree are pretty good about you being able to fix it. My, as you can imagine, my maiden name is Davis. That's why I'm very out loud with it. It's not hyphenated. It's my middle name because I was not given a middle name when I was born. But Susan Davis Faulkner, well, Davis was actually kind of a brick wall for me. I could get to my great grandfather, but not any further than that. And why it was is that it was indexed Doris. And if you think about cursive handwriting, you can kind of see how a DAV got it to be a DOR. So there you go. You know, it's like, okay, so we also know that they got married September 23rd, 1886, and again, it's the Fossenbaker Bell marriage record. Okay, so right here, we've got to think, could this couple be the parents of Mary Agnes? She was born in 1892. They were married in 1886. Yes. So far, I haven't found anything to disagree with it, but that's something to always check. They were married in Shaw, West Virginia. His place of birth was, did you say that's Preston County is what you saw?
Yes.
Or Virgin? Because it wasn't West Virginia yet, was it?
No, it was not. 1863.
Allegheny County, Maryland. Oops. Cracks me up. I've got, believe it or not, friends that are not historians, you know, and I tell them I'm moving to South Carolina, and they're like, does that mean that they won or lost the war? I'm like, no.
Yeah, well, we get all kinds of people that say, oh, well, I have relatives in Richmond or Roanoke. And we're like, yeah, but we're a different state.
Okay. Now, at this point, it gets kind of tricky because we've got first names for both of their parents, which is wonderful. I'm going to cheat a little bit and I'm going to jump over to see what the research that has already been done, which line it's going on. And it's going down the Nimrod Bell and the Sarah Ann Currents line. So I'm going to throw that in here. Nimrod Bell and Sarah. But I'm going to stop there because the marriage record does show Nimrod and Sarah, but it doesn't show her last name. So I can use this marriage record for that lineage link in this generation. Do you see that? Now I still haven't got this lineage link done, but if we're barking up the right branch, we're good. Okay. Let's go back to Family Search. Because that
So,
would be a good hit. Yeah.
okay, so I'll just be quiet. I'll
You're
watch.
good. Mary, you're fine.
I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do the link.
Well, let's play with it a little bit. I mean, while we got it, might as well grab it just in case. Like I
Okay.
said, I've also got documents that was submitted with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've already got a great document for the marriage. We don't have to worry about that. Now, the 1900 census is, I'm trying to think which one is it that's, I think it's which one is it that gives the birth information? Does anybody remember right off? Is it 1910 or 1920?
I think it's 1910.
Let's go see what we've got here. Yeah, it's not this.
Oh,
So let's go back and get that 1910 one. 1910 or the 1900, I think it's 1910, is a really good one to get because it
I know
the
the 1900, yeah, because
gives the month and the year of the birth, and that's kind of nice to have.
yeah.
and that's only on certain censuses.
No, the whole federal census.
Well, I mean, like,
She means years, right?
years. Yeah,
Well,
that's
one of the federal censuses, it must be 1900, Mary, gives the month and the year of every person that it has on the
I
internet.
think that's 1900 because that's how I was able to get my grandmother's birthday.
Yep, there it is. Okay, so they're saying that James H. and Mary L. Bell, there he is, James H. and Mary L.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, and Mary Agnes should be 8 years old, and there she is. Do you see her?
Mm-hmm.
So,
And look, it has their years married
and
as
they've been married
13.
13 years, and our records show they got married in 1886. So that would be perfect because they got married in September.
where
And
does it say the years married? Which column is that?
it's right here. So here's James H. Bell.
Okay.
He was born April 1861, and he's 30,
35.
he can't
Yeah.
be 35. And math doesn't work out. Is it 39?
Yeah.
I think he's 39. It's just bad handwriting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And he's been
That'd be right.
married. He's been married for 13 years. And he was born in West Virginia. By now it's West Virginia. And then there's Mary L. She was born June 1866. She's 33. She's been married for 13 years. And sometimes you'll see these numbers different. And that's when you know it's a second marriage for one of them, if not
And
both.
then the next beside it is like there's 6, she's given birth to 6 children and 3 are living, correct?
Right.
Hmm.
And
Oh, okay.
and there are 3 in the home. So that's good. We've got all of the living children in front of us. So
How do you know whether they are living in the home or and that's the number that have been living in the home and maybe 1 or 2 have moved out
in
Well,
this,
or whether they've died?
can I say something,
go
Susan?
for it, Mary.
Sure.
Okay, if you look at this example, they've been married for 13 years. Let's say it was only 10 years. You would know, if it said 10 years and she had given birth to 6 children and only three were in the household, then you know that because I've had this with our family, and I knew that 3 children had died and were
Okay.
not,
Because they're too young to have moved out.
exactly. Yes.
Okay.
I'm working on another case right now too, where we got to the 1900 census like this, and she had 2 children, one living, and there were 2 daughters in the house. So that means one of them was the daughter of the father, but not of the mother.
Oh.
Or a niece.
No, it'd be because they were all listed as daughters. And so they are daughter to the head, not daughter to the mother. So in that situation, one of those children, one of those daughters, was a daughter to the mother, and both of them were daughters to the head or the father. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that really helps too, because we're trying to prove that this is his second marriage, and that really can help. Meaning we're trying to prove that the one living child is a child of the first wife. And so that's where that math helps. Okay, so on James H, I don't know if you guys want to look at me put stuff in, or if you want to look at the census record, because tell me what you want.
Put it in
Okay,
because I'm that's
That's
my
Yeah,
next.
I don't know how to do that.
okay. So you guys challenge me. I'm learning how to skip this thing all over the place now.
That's good.
So James H. No, first we gotta save it. And so I'm gonna I want to
Save what?
this image, this 1900 census page.
Okay.
Now the way I do is I don't do the transcription and I don't do the highlights. I just want the JPEG. Oh, I want the PDF record image with no highlights and the citation. That way I've got the information right there for my citation, and I can just press on with my research and worry about my citation later. That's the way I do it. I don't do it with highlights because I want to use this image when I go to build my application package. So I'll download it.
Show us how you do this image. That's different than what I do.
Yeah. If you don't mind.
No. So how I do what, Clay?
How you save the image.
Okay. I'm in Family Search and I click on this little button here. It means download.
Well, I can't see it. I don't think.
It's at the very top of the census image.
We're not
They're not
there.
on that screen.
That's why you can't see it. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Mary. Can you see me now?
Mm-mm.
Now
Yeah,
we can.
now.
Now we can. And you
All right.
are the Zoom queen, by the way.
I'm
You're
getting
doing a
there.
great job going from place to place.
You are.
Mhm.
When I get comments or phone calls, I'm like, I can't do that too. So I'm not quite there yet, but you guys are challenging me and I appreciate it, Pam.
So where is the button?
Okay, so here's our census record right here, this little download arrow icon. I can click on it and then it asks me these questions. So this is what I was referring to. I don't want to have it with highlights because I want to use the image to submit with my application.
Yeah.
I want the PD record image with no highlights. I don't need a
Okay.
transcription of a census record. That would just be a lot of kind of gobbledygook. And so I want the citation though, so I can go back and reference it for the citation building. So then I click download. And again, it's going to ask me, it calls it transcript, but that's not what it is. That's just their default. And this is, remember my naming convention, we're on generation 4, and it's the Bell 1900 census, actually,
Where do you name it?
right here as you're saving it. says save as.
Okay,
Like, you want to save this image, what name do you want to give it, is what it's asking.
yeah,
And so this is my naming convention, first initial, middle initial, last name. And then what is this document? It's the 1900 census.
okay.
Again, that's just what works for me. Everybody's got their own way, but okay, so then going back to,
I don't understand what naming convention is.
it's just the name that, it's a convention, Marion, meaning
Or
that,
the method,
yeah.
maybe.
You know what we were talking about, all these codes up here?
Yeah,
It's kind of the same thing. You can see this is starting to build a code. So it's kind of a convention of what I use when I go to name a file.
okay,
It's just a code that I use because that code means something to me. I've got
okay.
all of my generation 4 stuff together, and by looking at it, I can see what kind of record it is. So, okay, from the census record, we know now that James H. Bell was born in April 1861. And so I'll put a little comma here and I'll do 4 J.H. Bell 1900 census. Whoops, I won't. That's the one thing on Zoom calls. I am the worst typist. So, okay. So they've been married for 13 years, and that ties into this. I don't think I need, this is such a good record. I don't need to get anything stronger than that for that. And oh, for her, I was like, what were we going next? She was born in June 1866. And we've got our lineage link. Remember, we saw that because Mary Agnes is in the home, and she was born in January 1892, which ties in right along with what we've already got in the DAR system. We don't need to do anything there, but this does provide the information that she is the daughter of J.H. Bell. And because
Oh,
they were married before she was born, she is also the daughter of Mary L. Fosenbecker. Any questions on that? Got it?
yeah,
Mhm.
that's the link between the generations. That's cool.
Yeah. That's why I really like this form, Marion, is it's so easy to get caught up in the births, deaths, and marriage, if it's available, that we sit there when we get done and go, I haven't proved the lineage link. I am not done. And this way I can see right away whether I'm done or not. So I'm going to take us back to Family Search.
It's the transportation between, because I just have one monitor. And
Oh,
you
that's
can put
fine.
them,
I think all of us right now in a Zoom call, you can't see all that I see except for one screen at a time, Mary.
okay,
So if you're not, okay, so we got the census records. So it looks like one of their kids got married. Another census record, another marriage, another census record. Okay. So from what is available to us here, I do not see any death information. Now, if we look up here, well, I could take you another. If we go to the details on James Henry Bell in Family Search FamilyTree, they are saying that he died in 1955.
Dang.
So, yeah, her family lives a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's why I said dang.
So that's all right. We could go back to this. Right now, we can go ahead and squeeze stuff out of here that will be useful. Let's see on Mary Louise. And so there's options. We can look at like her profile or the sources. Sources are always what we end up wanting because by just looking at what somebody else has put in, that really doesn't help us much. but they're saying that she was born in 1866 and that she died in 1951. Well, let's see if they've documented it. Okay, we've got census records. We've got her marriage to James several times.
And Mary Louise Tyenbaker and Mary Louise Fossenbaker are the same person?
Yes, when we looked at the marriage record, it showed that she was single. And so it was just a transcription error, Marion.
Okay.
And yeah, it was really, when you were looking for Fossenbaker, it was really easy to see how they were able to get something else.
Yeah.
And so we've got census records here. Looks like, again, a child got married, listing them as parents. 1940 census. Oh, they've got a
Oh,
find.
there we go.
Let's see what we've got with that. And again, let's just go on over to the original document, and we're leaving like we did when we went to the West Virginia culture. We're going to find a grave. So we've got a beautiful picture of Mary Louise,
Oh,
but her tombstone, I'm hoping we could get something better than that, because how are we going to know that that's Mary Louise Fossenbaker Bell? You know? So I would,
Many.
well, yeah, it said many, and another one, like a previous thing, listed like in maybe the last census or the one before.
well, for one thing, there should be a death certificate,
Yeah.
1951. So let's jump. Now, another thing, hang on. Let's see what, remember I told you somebody had done this research? Let's see what they provided, because they gave a lot of stuff. Let's see what they've got in their folder that they gave to us. And see,
So what are you looking under now?
this is all the records that the person that
Documents?
yes, that the
Okay.
person that previously did the research provided. So I mean, it's worth looking at. You know, my next steps would have been to go to Ancestry and see if they have a database that had marriage record or death certificates, or to go look for an obituary. But maybe that's already been done for us. So let's see. We want Mary Agnes Hicks. It looks like it's an obituary. I don't really read it, but they got it on Find a Grave. So let's go back over to Find a Grave.
Oh, here we go.
Ah,
There it is.
Doesn't look the same. Hang on, let me see if there's,
No, that looked like an anniversary announcement
maybe that's what it was.
because they were standing behind a cage.
Funeral services.
Funeral services for Mrs. Mary Louise. There we go, Bell. And we've already got their marriage records, so that's all good. Wife of James H. Bell, who died Tuesday afternoon at the home of her daughter, Mrs. Louise W. Hicks, or Lewis W. Hicks, sorry. Gives the address, 314 Maryland Avenue, Western Port, will be conducted tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 p.m. from the Bowl Funeral Home with Reverend O.C. Mitchell, pastor of Trinity Methodist Church, officiating. Interment will be in Memorial Park Cemetery, Frostburg. Mr. and Mrs. Bell had been making their home with their son-in-law and daughter since May 26, when Mrs. Bell fractured her right hip in a fall at her home, 131 Main Street. A daughter of the late Godfrey and Georgiana Butts Fossenbaker. There we go. See, there's that Fossenbaker. Mrs. Bell was a native of Frostburg, so we know where she was born. Last September 23rd, she and her husband celebrated their 65th wedding anniversary. Isn't that great? A resident of the Tri-Towns for 56 years, Mrs. Bell was a member of the Trinity Methodist Church and the Women's Society of Christian Service of the church. Besides her husband and daughter, she is survived by 3 sons, Kurt Narbell, Cheverly, Harry Bell, Lana Koning, Louis Bell Frostberg, 2 sisters, Mrs. W, blah, 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 5 grandchildren. Okay. So the one thing that we don't usually get when we get obituaries on Find a Grave is the citation, but here we've got, yeah, look at that. Piedmont Herald newspaper obituary dated August 9th, 1951. So that helps us a lot because up here it said she died Tuesday. Well, we weren't really until we saw this Tuesday of what month, what year. So with this, we can save this image. And this would be for M.L. Bell obit. See how, again, just sharing the way I do it.
Mhm. And how do you know the date of the article? Because
Because
I don't see it.
I shared it down here, Marion. The let's see if I can make it a little bit easier for you to see. The person that
Cited it.
submitted,
Oh, I see it.
to, yep,
51 is
Yep.
the last number.
Right.
8951 or something like that.
Does
Correct.
everybody
Okay.
do that?
What's that?
How, do they have to enter that, or how does that get in Find a Grave?
It's only because the person was kind enough to put it there, Clay.
Okay, because I've never seen it like that. I just
That's
Yeah.
really,
look for 'em
They
But
like
were
it's a gift.
smart. They were very smart.
Mhm.
When I save an obituary, I try to write the date on it
That's good.
because
Yeah. Okay, so all right, I'm cheating. I'm going back to my legacy software because it's got a date calculator in it. And that way I can just pull up any old of these screens and get to it. And so I know that this article was written August of 1951, and it was written on the 9th, but it says in the obituary that she died Tuesday, so it's the 7th. Because on the offering on Find a Grave, it just says the obituary was dated August 9th and that she died on Tuesday. It doesn't say that the obituary was published on Thursday, August 9th. And this is just the easiest way for me to figure out how to do that kind of math since they give it to you. Okay, so we can go back to the death here, and now we know it's the 7th of August, 1951, and we know that because of that document. Okay, and she died. We read it all. It says funeral services will be wife of who died Tuesday afternoon at the home of her daughter, Westernport. So she died in Westernport. What? Well, she was buried in Frostburg, Allegheny, Maryland. So that might be something. Does anybody want to look that up? Is there a Westernport, Maryland? And her daughter, yep, her daughter, Mrs. Lewis W. Hicks. So that would be Mrs. Lewis Wheeler Hicks. There's another lineage link for us, maybe. So from her obituary, we can also see that there's a connection to her daughter.
Right.
Wow.
Oh, that's good too. Do you see this? Again, we don't need to combine it with anything. This is such a strong document, but in the obituary, it said that they celebrated their 65th wedding anniversary on September 23rd, and there we go. got that same date. All this, I like it when there's not a conflict of evidence. I like it when that happens. Are you looking it up, PM?
I did. Westernport it's in Maryland. It's right on the edge of where West Virginia and Maryland, where the
Perfect.
line is.
Oh,
Okay, great. I'm just putting down Westernport, Maryland. I was assuming that, but the newspaper didn't say where it was published from. And to do a good citation, we might want to do that, find that out. Which to me, I get so involved in the research. I like to do the research, and then if I need to go back and do research on the citations, I do. Everybody's got their own way of doing it. That's mine. I'm not saying it's right. It's just the way I do it. Okay, so now that was exciting. We don't have anything on Mr. Bell. Let's see. James Henry Bell is right here. Could there be something exciting here for us? Look at this. Look at this. I love these people.
And he was with his same daughter.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to click on this to get to the original so that I get a better copy of it. And so this would be for J.H. Bell. Open it. I can close it down so we can see it a little bit better. But okay, so now all of a sudden, this is the first reference we got to James Henry Bell.
And it also has the citation down, or not the citation, but it has the date down in that left corner again.
Does, yep. Yay. Okay.
and it says he died this morning. Boy,
That's
news
nice.
hot off the press.
Really, they were waiting for it. 15 September 1955, because that's the date that they say that the obituary was written for J.H. Bell obit. Okay. And here they're saying Piedmont, West Virginia is a location. Does that sound right to you, Pam?
Yes.
Okay.
A little side note to everybody. Piedmont, West Virginia is where y'all have heard of Henry Louis Gates. Finding Your Roots.
Yeah.
All right, he was born in Piedmont, West Virginia.
Oh, how neat.
Okay, is Piedmont on that same border that West?
It's
West
close. It's very close.
Because in this article it says that at the home of his son-in-law and daughter, who lived in Westernport, so that could be published in the newspaper of Piedmont.
Piedmont is like a suburb of Kaiser, and Westernport is very close to Kaiser. Piedmont's not really coming up.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
It's really small.
Okay, maybe it was just the place the printing press was at. Okay.
Oh, here's Piedmont Road that goes between Kaiser and Westernport.
Okay. Great. Okay, so this also, now he was born in Newburgh. Okay, PM is Newburgh in Preston County, Virginia.
I know where Preston County is. What's
there
the date?
1955, so it'll be West Virginia.
Yes.
Is there a Newburgh in Preston County?
I don't know. I'll look that
I'm
up.
looking it up.
Newburgh.
I'm spelling it right. How do you spell it?
Newburg.
Okay, no H. Okay.
It's close to Preston County. I'm not positive it's in Preston County though.
Oh, I have it right here. Overview. Newburgh is a town in western Preston County, West Virginia, U.S.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank
Good.
you. So from the
Where'd you
obituary,
find that?
Ma'am? Oh,
Where'd you find that?
I just Googled it and it came up in Wikipedia.
Okay.
good job, Mary.
Yeah.
Okay, so in his obituary, it says born in Newburgh, West Virginia, and what we had earlier was Preston County, Virginia. So that's always a dilemma. Where do we put that he was born?
If he was born before West Virginia was formed, you'd put Virginia,
Right.
Western Virginia. I saw that on one of them.
It says he was born in 1861. Is that where we are? So it would be Preston County, Virginia.
I agree with both
Oh.
of you guys. It says here in the obituary that he was born in Newburgh, West Virginia. So what I'm saying is that he was born in Newburgh, Preston County, Virginia. Do you guys
Yeah.
agree? Okay.
Could
So
you say Western Virginia too?
would not,
Okay.
because that wasn't a
I had seen that in one of the censuses, I think.
okay, but that wasn't an officially, political
It wasn't in
geographic
this.
place, right?
Okay.
Okay, so born in Newburgh, West Virginia, Mr. Bell was the son of the late Nimrod and Sally Currance Bell. Yay! So now this obituary
So
is
now
our
we got a
week.
name. Oh, okay.
And remember, we had Nimrod Bell from his marriage record, but I wouldn't buy Currance until we had something a little bit more substantiated. And there we go. We've got it in this
And
obituary.
is that the biological link
That
between
is
the generations too?
the lineage link. Yes, that works because it says in his obituary, born in Newburgh, West Virginia, Mr. Bell was the son of the late Nimrod and Sally, and then in parentheses, Currance Bell.
Okay. So you can put that down in the as
Absolutely.
a source.
Absolutely. Yeah. His wife, the former Mary Louise Fossenbaker. So there we go with that Fossenbaker again. That's good. Died about 6 years ago. And that works, except for it's only 4. Since that time, Mr. Bell had resided with Mr. and Mrs. Hicks. Besides Mrs. Hicks, Mr. Bell is survived by 3 other children, blah, 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 survived by grandchildren. The body will remain. But there we go. So you see, we've got that whole generation with those 2 lineage links. And we can see it. And it's good. And what I like about it is that these are current deaths, but those obituaries were written so well, we do not need the death certificate. And I like that when that happens. They prefer
Because death certificates weren't always issued.
in 1950s, they were pretty much solid. But if we've got enough information that we don't have to get the death certificates, then that saves us money, or
Mhm.
whoever's application or supplemental we're working on it saves money. So, okay, I'm going back. Now I know that people will disagree, saying you've got to have the vital records. Well, the genies prefer that, but what we've got to get is the information. So don't get so caught up on a particular document. We've got to get the information.
Is there a chance that the genie, some genies get caught up on that particular, having the vital records,
Sure.
and they might turn it down?
Sure. There's always a chance. And that's the one thing I've talked to a lot of, well, like you guys know Barbara Juror, she's been with us before on a lot of our
Yeah.
meetings. And she's like, that's the one thing that's for sure is that they don't have a lot of, they're not standardized, meaning they follow the genealogical guidelines. And if you read those, you'll see exactly what they can take and what they can't. But whenever there's a subject, an objective, where they can make a decision, it's not standardized. And as you get into the further away documents, further in time, and it gets to be a little bit easier, you can definitely get a couple of different opinions from the genealogists. That's why it is so important to have a prima facie case, to have something solid and locked down. One of my favorite sayings is, can you sell it? Do you believe in this application enough that you can sell it? Does this application have value enough that you can sell? And if you have to sit there for a millisecond and go, except for that one generation, well, then you're not ready. I saw you kind of smile, Pam. It's like, we've been there, haven't we? I mean, all
Yeah.
of us have. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have one that I can't, um, because it says in the census for 1860 that it's my great great grandmother and her daughter are living in the home of her parents, and they list her as a instead of the granddaughter, they list her as a daughter,
Oh,
the census taker.
well, then you got to go beyond the census. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I found like probate records
There you
from
go.
around 1900 that name her as the granddaughter, or that he names his daughter and her husband and granddaughter, whatever. Anyway, but
Yeah. Like I said, when you've got conflicting information and you're
mhm.
like, are they going to buy this? For the longest time, I didn't submit a supplemental because I couldn't prove the marriage of one of my great grandparents. And my husband, he's like, what makes you think they were ever married? And I'm like, oh, you know,
Well, and I have another oddity in our family. I have a grandmother that she's part of the pet. She's a Pettigrew originally, and anyway, she divorced her husband in like 1920.
that's unusual.
Yeah, she said no, and she said it was because he had abandoned her
Oh,
and was not there present, and she was like, "I'm not waiting around on you," I guess. So anyway.
And she won the divorce decree.
Yes, and she married. See,
That's even more unusual.
yeah.
my mother remembers her visiting her at the nursing home
Oh, wow.
because and she remarried to another man, and so her tombstone has that, but it has all the information. It says her first husband, but she's my grandmother.
A lot of people wonder why when a person, okay, so one of the situations I'm working on is trying to sell an application to a person I'm working with on it before we send it on.
Mm-hmm.
And so if this man we think had a first wife, she died young after having a couple of kids, and then he remarries, why was he buried with the first wife?
Oh, you know what? I bet you anything it had to do with the children
I,
afterwards. I'm
Hmm.
sure it was.
and I don't know. I mean, there's so many things we don't know. You know, my
Yeah.
mother was adopted from an orphanage, and we've been
Mhm.
able to trace her family back. Of course, she's not been able to make any connection with any of them, but through DNA, we were able to verify our research.
Mhm.
And so, her not being a genealogist, her questions are, well, how did my parents meet? And why did they fall in love? Those are
Mhm.
questions I will never be able to answer.
Right. Yeah. That's.
Whereas, when we've got mommy and daddy in the house, we get to hear those stories.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I'd like to go on in our next session and do the next generation. I think this is a good place to stop. We did one, we filled in. I'm going to share that again just to show you why you guys
I
will.
thought we got a lot done.
We really did, but I don't want to go to the next generation. But what we did is we did all of this as far as looking at each of these different generations and seeing that they don't always have to be the same, you know. I, when it comes to actually working on this, because Nancy's been married before, this got kind of convoluted, but we do know that this whole generation that we're looking at has been proved by her daughter in this application. So that's why I understand that these are blank. But then we've got this patriot, and we've got this patriot, and we've got this patriot, which is not what we typically think. We typically think, well, her most recent application is this one, but that's not what they want. They want the most recent application for each generation. Now, the reason that is that each application that comes in may have a correction or updated information. And you could have like we're seeing here, you know, a kind of a volley of different applications coming in for different generations. But that one that hits that generation is going to have the most recent information. They're not going to go back 3 applications and take out information. You know what I mean? That was missing when it was submitted. And so
You don't, do you have, obviously you don't, but I thought you had to put a citation, a documentation on for each fact. You don't.
yes, and we will go through building the citations. Okay,
Up,
Marion, wait a
on her
minute.
name.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute. Each piece of information needs to come from a document, but that document can have many pieces of information that go to the application. We saw that
Okay.
with the marriage record, okay? But every document needs a citation.
But you don't have to put like IBID or ditto or.
Right. So not every data set, not every piece of information needs a citation. Every
Okay.
piece of information needs a document to support it, and every document needs a citation.
Okay. I think.
And then you also need to, whoever is if you've got 2 generations in a document, it should go with the generation that is the principal person in the document, correct?
Not
Well, that would be
necessarily.
Nancy Hicks Dusenberry, wouldn't it?
Well, these are different documents, if you will, because they're different ancestors and different
In
applications.
other words, i.e., a census record. Sometimes you'll have,
Play, it goes with the first one that you hit. So you put it in the child's generation. And you don't need to cite it every time.
no, I'm not saying you cite it a second time.
But then when it comes to a will is the one thing that's different. It goes under the person who wrote the will. Even
And
though
the census record would.
I didn't write the rules. When you
Okay,
play the
but
duties, you got to play the rules.
the census,
So a will
the census
goes under the
goes the head of the household,
person. Okay.
correct?
And
I don't think so. I think it goes with the first child, the first name that you have with that census record. The first time they're going to see it as they go down the family tree.
Susan,
Mhm.
I do not have this form. Would you email it to me, please?
I
And is
don't
it all
either.
right to share it with my registrar?
Absolutely. You want
Thank
it
you very
to,
much.
Marion, did you say you would like a copy also?
I would too.
And will you
Yes.
send me one? I know I have it, but it'll just, if you're doing it, just, and because I am getting ready to start like 3,
Okay.
and I'm just going to start the way you did it. I love Susan. So I'm going to just
My goodness,
build
it makes
mine
sense
like
to me.
that.
I just can't even do an application anymore without this. Isn't that
It's
crazy?
very methodical, and I think that's the best way to go.
It helps us to keep linear thinking because when we
Mhm.
get down here to, I mean, that was one thing, but then when we were popping all over the place, putting information into this, it would have been easy to overlook something or,
Mhm. Or put it in the wrong place.
yeah.
And
Or
what
think
I
they had it.
used to do was print out every single thing and clip them together and write Gen 3, Gen 4 like that. That'll save me so much ink.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
do
that's
I have a little sticky that says BC, MC, DC,
Oh, well,
or census, and I write that on the sticky of what's attached, um, for each generation. So, and then I know, like, if I'm missing something, I need to get it, I leave a little box and it's unchecked. Does that make sense?
well, at least you've got a system, you know.
Yeah. It does help me keep organized.
I know of registrars that print everything out, Pam, and I don't know if this is you or not, or if any of you guys do this, but everything that they touch that has anything to do with an application, they print.
That's
And
well.
then I've had a couple of prospective members fall through the cracks. I mean, they're like, no, I'm not interested because my husband just had a massive heart attack. It's not the right time, whatever the situation is. And so then the registrar gives me this 3-inch folder and says, would you please give this to them? I've spent too much time working on it to just throw it away, and I don't want it anymore. You know, it's like, if you just have it electronically, to me, it works. Now, there are times I have to scan things like birth certificates or whatever that prospective members might be bringing in, but I can still keep an electronic copy of it. And believe me, I've got enough. We run 3 businesses from my home. I've got enough files. I don't need to any more than I have to, you know. So I try to do as electronically as I can, and it just keeps it all, for me, more organized. Everybody's has their own way, of course, but
I
When
was,
are we gonna meet next?
what was that?
When's our next,
Zoom
uh,
meeting?
yes, mm-hmm.